Welcome back everyone to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host Jay Murph, and today we're going to be talking about Chainlink, the #1 Oracle solution in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Now, if you were really blessed, you got in right at the right time, and we're going to talk about that. So why don't we get this party started? Or John McAfee says he is eating his own. All right, let's get into it. So let's look at CoinGecko here, and we're going to look at Chainlink coming in at number 9. So we're going to do a quick analysis on what we're looking at here. Right now, the market cap is a little over $10 billion, which is gigantic, right? Yeah, considering Ripple in 2017, it hit a market cap of almost 120 billion. I would say this is really low for this project. All right, so now I'm not going to go too much into what Chainlink is because my guess is most of you are already completely familiar with it. What I am going to do is I'm going to talk about a little bit of the price history, and I'm going to talk about what I'm seeing in the price right now, which is why I'm covering this. Now, I've had lots of requests to cover Chainlink, and I haven't till now, and it's mostly because I don't like covering things when they're already parabolic, because then people get super excited and they jump in at some bad timing, especially if it's a project that I haven't been covering already and I cover it for the first time. I would hate to see people do some chasing into some large green candles. So their website is chain.link, which is very simple and easy to find. And here you can read more about it. But essentially, oracles help DeFi projects and others figure out important information like price action and other things. And Chainlink is set up so it's very hard to manipulate the kind of data it's supposed to return, which helps secure DeFi projects. Because if you can manipulate that data, you can then manipulate some trades and you can essentially steal a lot of money from other people. And so Chainlink has been so far the #1 player in that market, and I don't see anything changing with that. All right, so this is the weekly price action that's going on with Chainlink, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Why don't we go back to here? I wanted to look at some things, and you know how I do when I review these. I look at the market cap, which is really just the token price times the circulating supply. I do want to note that there's still half the supply, a little over half the supply, that hasn't even come into circulation yet. So if you were to give it a fully diluted valuation, that would be 25 billion. That means if all of the tokens were in circulating supply at that price, that's exactly what the fully diluted valuation would be, which is always an important factor. Now, one of the concerns I have about Chainlink is that a large percentage of the tokens are held by only a few wallets. Now, that can be very good for price action appreciating, and it can also be very bad. Kind of like the De Beers organization holds most of the supply of diamonds, and they do it in such a way that it creates an artificial scarcity, and so diamonds are priced very high because of that. And the same can happen to Chainlink, but if those same people start dumping, that can bring the price down very, very quickly and hurt you. So far, they haven't been doing that, but something to always be careful of when looking at Chainlink. So what am I seeing in Chainlink? Well, before we get into that, I want to look at Bitcoin dominance. Now, you probably remember that I cover this a lot, and I look at what Bitcoin dominance is doing as an indicator of what I think price action might do. Now, I haven't gone over this in a little while, so I'm just going to step back and look at what happened in 2017. Now, prior to 2017, most of the altcoins out there were really just different forks of Bitcoin. And it's really in 2017 where Ethereum's functionality started to come online, as well as projects like XRP started to have a lot of excitement and their pricing started to go up. Now on this chart, which is the Bitcoin dominance chart, when altcoins take off relative to the Bitcoin price, what you see is Bitcoin's dominance versus the altcoins fall. And that's why you see some very large drops here. I call them, this is my extremely technical term, womp, because that's kind of what happens here. Womp. And now, while this was happening, those altcoins were having parabolic gains versus Bitcoin's price. And then you would see Bitcoin go up in price and then womp again. And so you see a lot of that action throughout the previous bull run, and you're seeing some of that action here. Now, I've been looking at this chart a lot lately to figure out what it might do, and I've been looking to see if it comes back and hits up here in Bitcoin dominance. So at that point, likely I'll take some of my Bitcoin and be buying some altcoins with it. Now, if you're seeing what I'm seeing, it looks like, boy, there's a reason I'm not an artist. A head and shoulders pattern here. And what I'm looking for is it to possibly come up a little bit more before I would sell that Bitcoin into altcoins. But I'm at the point that I'm starting to consider it, and I'm just watching what's happening closely. I'm already heavily invested in altcoins, but I do hold a percentage of my portfolio in the safe category, somewhere safe just in Bitcoin, waiting for the right opportunity to move it into altcoins when I feel the timing is right. And we might be getting close to that. All right, so the reason I pulled up the Bitcoin dominance chart is because when it has a large fall like this, that is really good for altcoins. Altcoins such as Chainlink, but also others. So I was hoping for a little bit bigger retracement here, and let me go to the daily, that Bitcoin, whoa. I was hoping that we would see some bigger price action from Bitcoin running up before this then goes down, kind of like we have drawn here on the daily. And so we'll see if it comes up to these points and then starts heading down. That's when I would be making those changes. So I look at this because I want to know, is it better to be holding Bitcoin or altcoins in the near future? Now, I hold some of both because these are just help me make educated guesses. But at some point, I will likely be selling almost all that Bitcoin for altcoins just for a few month period before rolling it back into Bitcoin. And so I'm always looking when that timing is. All right, let's get back to Chainlink's price, which is why I know you're all here. Okay, do you see why I'm interested in its price action? We've had some big retracements, and if you see, I drew the fibs out here, starting way down here and coming up here, but you could also, because that was just a wick down there, you could move this up. Boy, it does not want me to move that up. You could move that up here, and you see that right here is a resistance line that's been hitting. It came down and tested this just briefly, bounced right back up off of it. So what I'm looking at next is what is going to happen with this line that it seems to be respecting. So before it respected it as resistance, broke through and has come up, well, yeah, respected this, broke down below it, and is now testing it as resistance. And so if I were buying this, I would be looking at what's going to happen related to this. Is it going to bounce down and come back down here for an even better buy? Or is it going to break above it, maybe then come back and retest it before breaking higher? Now this is if I was going to short-term swing trade it for maybe a week period or a couple week period. That's exactly the questions I would be asking. Now, I have a large percentage of my funds allocated into other things, so I personally am not buying Chainlink, but it's not because I don't love it. How can you not love this token? It's amazing, and let me share with you my price prediction for where I think it'll go. And you may disagree with me. Some people think my price predictions are overly optimistic. I like to think that they're very realistic, taking into consideration what I saw in 2017. Now, in price predictions, I'm not discussing a price that it's necessarily worth at the top of the bull run. In fact, most bubbles over boom and then they over bust. And in 2017, we absolutely saw a lot of over booming. And you see a lot of over booming, particularly on the projects that people are most excited about. And you see a lot of FOMO coming into the market and people just throwing crazy money at things, which takes their market caps to numbers it should never hit, and yet it does. And so that's what I'm looking at. If you look actually in the medium term, what it's likely to do is when it does go on its next run, this would be, if it were me and I was swing trading it, my take profit 1 zone would be right here, and my take profit 2 zone would be $140-ish. And I would draw out a little range in here and start taking my second set of profits right there. But I don't think it's going to stop there. In order to talk about where I think this will hit, let's go back to, I want to look at its market cap. So we saw in 2017 a project that had really good technology, but poor tokenomics, and a really good team hit a market cap of over $110 billion, and that project was XRP. Now, Chainlink has a very good team. It has better tokenomics than XRP, and it has a lot of momentum behind it and a very, very loyal following, and I think it's going to exceed that market cap by probably double. So, if it were to go to $220 billion, the market cap would essentially be a 22x from here. And if we pull out the calculator, and we said $25 times 22, that would give it a price at the top of the bull run of $550. Now, is that crazy? I don't think so at all. At that market cap, $220 billion, it still will not be one of the top market caps. I think still ADA will be ahead of it. I still think Polkadot will be ahead of it, and many others. But that is my best prediction of where I personally think it would go for my own investment. Now, none of this is financial advice, and I am no financial advisor. In fact, I'm not even always right. Just often right, and I'm often right for my own investments. As to what decisions you make, that's really on you. That way, if you make good gains, well then all the credit goes to you. And if you make bad decisions, well, all the credit goes to you too. But that's what helps us learn and grow. So that's my price prediction of what I personally think Chainlink will do for my own investment decisions. And I hope this analysis is helpful to see how I got here so you can decide whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it. But I would like it either way if you liked the channel and you subscribed and hit the bell notification button of all. The whole reason I started this channel was to be able to get enough subscribers or try to add enough value to enough people that they would follow and subscribe. That would give me access to a lot of the developer teams, because I wanted to get better investment decisions going on by for myself by getting information from them. And in return, I'll share that information with you, as well as what questions I ask them. And the end goal really is to have them on the channel and be able to ask them questions. Now, the information I'm most interested in is the information that hasn't hit public consciousness yet. It's below the surface, I call it information. It's not private stuff that they can't share under contractual agreements. It's the public stuff or the not private stuff that they can share, but maybe isn't out there in the public consciousness. And that's the best information, because a lot of times there's things that's non-private, but it hasn't hit public awareness. And when you become aware of that, you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to take this project to this and make some really good returns, which is the whole reason I started this channel. I appreciate all of you who have joined the Rainmakers team, and I hope those of you watching for the first time join us too. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.